Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Just a little ka-chow and we're ready.
Listen, we've been doing this long and you still don't know my thing, which is when you say I'm ready, I say yes, I'm ready, which means I'm recording. But for you, ready means, oh, I'm ready to possibly start recording, maybe.
What I love is that when I say I'm ready, it is absolutely no preamble for you. It's just like, yep, let's go, I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
And
we just had preamble. They didn't hear it, but we had preamble.
And I just love that like, it is a beneficial work style that we have, whereas our work style is opposite, and it works great together.
Yes.
Anyways, welcome to Oops All Gravy. This is Into the Twilight.
Oopsie.
This is a
loosey-goosey
episode because it's a birthday baby episode when this is out.
Oh, shit.
Some birthday bitch, aka me.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who can be sure?
Will have started their fucking Saturn return when this episode comes out. God. So prayers for me.
Yeah, everyone cross your fingers. Just keep allaying your thoughts and prayers.
Someone is starting their fucking Saturn return right when fucking Mercury is about to go into retrograde. So I'm sorry for existing, folks. Right. My bad.
The vibes might be off.
Yeah.
And you'll probably sense it in the air as soon as you open this episode. Yeah. So welcome. You're in it. Welcome.
Listen, it's not my fault that I was born during an eclipse. And so, you know what? Y'all got to deal with it.
That is true. That's true.
Anyways, Cody, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm vibing. I'm living. I'm out here.
I love that.
Feeling good. I have a happy thing. This show on HBO called Hacks, which just started a couple weeks ago, and it's incredible. It's like a 30-minute comedy about two comedians in very different parts of their career, one of which is like playing Vegas shows and is like, everyone thinks she's like old and burned out, and then there's like this young like gay comedian who like got canceled on Twitter and is vaping all the time, and they form an alliance and work together, and it's incredible. It's very good, and it's set in Vegas, which is fucking fabulous. A lot of vape content, a lot of gay stuff, but most importantly, Meg Stalter, Chicago Queen, is in it on the big little screen, and we love to see it, and she's so good. It makes me cry because I'm very proud, and it's so good.
Hell yeah. I have been wanting to watch this, so I'm glad that you have previewed it and vetted it for me.
Yes.
This is the one, correct me if I'm wrong, that has Jean Smart in it, yes?
Yes, and she is so good.
Okay,
in it.
Good.
Yeah. She's always just like wearing a sequin pantsuit and just like couldn't give a fuck about anyone.
That sounds amazing. I have been missing, ever since Netflix decided to be an asshole and get rid of Glow.
Yeah,
I've been missing Vegas. Listen, not Vegas, just the Strip, essentially.
Yeah, right.
Listen,
yeah,
I know, I get it. It's like 2 blocks. But I've been missing some Vegas content, and so that sounds great. I love that for you.
Yeah, would recommend.
Good. I will add it to the list.
Yeah. Hell yeah. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I am living. Just getting those good allergies right now.
Ooh, yes, prime season.
Is that good time?
They're back.
I had a fantastic opportunity this weekend where I needed to just refill on essentials, so I had to go out into the world. And that does not happen frequently, as it has for the past year and a half. And in the process of driving to my pharmacy, there was literal cotton in the air. And I didn't realize until I got back that my partner looked at me and he was like, your eyes are bloodshot. Like,
oh, no.
And I'd taken an allergy pill in the morning, so like thankfully I didn't notice much, but I looked in the mirror when I came back, and I looked like a newborn vampire. It was rough stuff. Just because the fact that, just pollen's just in the air tonight,
Yeah, as they say, she's here. She's ready to make you look very stoned.
It's just...
And very vampiric,
I do not even imbibe in the devil's lettuce. Because as everyone knows, I am straight edge. I can't even say.
I could see you, like, do the cross with your arms. Like, I heard it in my mind's eye.
Me? With a tattoo of 3 X's? Me?
I know.
Me? A narc?
What?
No, I just have asthma. And anyways. But it just, I would imagine that the pharmacist was like, holy shit. Like, what is wrong with you?
Are you okay?
And apparently I was not on many levels.
No.
Speaking of stuff that's not okay, I don't know that I would call this a happy thing.
Yeah, but we need to discuss
But it is tangentially related to this show in the fact that we talk about fucked up cryptid things on here.
Cursed
content, and this is incredibly cursed content. A lot of this show is very cathartic for me in the sense of talking about problematic faves, which I have many.
Right. Of course, yeah. You're only human.
I'm only human, This week, when we are recording this, the Dear Evan Hansen trailer came out.
Oh, boy.
And I, unfortunately, love Dear Evan Hansen. It's a problem.
Yeah.
And folks, this trailer, I have been victimized by both Ryan Murphy and Ben Platt for far too long. And it's time that I speak my truth.
Honestly, the floor is yours.
This trailer was awful, and it's fucked up.
It's so, like, uncanny valley.
I hate it so much. When it came out, I could not stop talking about it. I was like an old man just grumbling around our apartment. I was just, every, 45 minutes, I would just yell and just get angry about something else. Most of it fixating on the fact of, Ben's hair.
Right, and the fact that he looks 45 years old.
The fact that he looks like an old man.
And is in a high school. He looks older in this than he's ever looked in anything I've ever seen him in before. Ever, period.
He looks older than I do when I'm teaching students. It's honestly fucked up. If I saw him in the hallway, I would ask him for directions. And I hate it so much. And it's fucked up because I cannot get through that musical without, hysterically sobbing.
Sure. It's a tearjerker.
And, trust me. Hi. I get it. That musical would have wrecked me in so many different ways if it was 2012 and I was just coming off like Coney.
Yeah, right.
And I was just needed something to
my most vulnerable point.
And I needed gay content.
Right. My favorite part of this trailer coming out is everyone at once actually knowing what the plot of Dear Evan Hansen was.
Yeah.
Gun to your head if you were like, oh, this is about a gay kid coming out in high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe. The vibes are there for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Somebody said it once and everyone's like, got it. That's what I think that is, and I'm not going to look into it any further. And then, nope.
Especially because the book, which I have copies of in my classroom library, the folks that were involved with the writing of the book were like, oh yeah, we totally thought that it was gay. We just forgot to mention it. So we're going to make it gay now.
Whoopsie.
We're going to make the dead kid gay. So there you go.
Yeah, right. So is that good? Does that work for everyone?
Anyways, it's been haunting me, but I did need a space to just...
No, please. Absolutely. This is therapy. This is your space. Let it all out.
Yeah, it's rough. But it was one of the happy things I will say, I agree, is just watching Twitter yesterday be wait a second, why did we all think this was gay? What the fuck? What kind of campaign did they run?
Yeah, what I would give to get the data of Wikipedia traffic of Dear Evan Hansen
and the
on
fucking
that day,
Wikipedia. Oh my god, yeah.
I'm sure it like burned someone's servers at some point.
Yeah, some poor intern yesterday was like, God damn it. Nobody told me about this.
Yeah, we did not have enough bandwidth for this.
Absolutely. Speaking of interns, our most important piece of current events this week. I want to thank our unofficial intern for this. So thank you, Taylor.
Hell yeah.
We have Taylor Lautner news, which we don't often do.
It's quite rare. I think we've maybe over the course of the podcast had like 3 max.
Yes. It is not often. This man very intentionally stays out of the public light at this point. We have heard little teasers that this man has been pushing trucks. He's been a menace to the public. He's training for something, but we don't know what. Right. Supposedly a movie, but we weren't sure. We have received confirmation from the source of Deadline that he is in Knives Out too. No.
Could you
I would die!
Imagine. Listen, at this point there's like, 50 people in that movie already? Yeah. What's one more Taylor Lautner in there? Just like sneak him in.
If he was in Knives Out, with everyone that we have seen so far, with this alphabet soup of beautiful people. Right.
Absolutely.
I would literally pass out.
And in Greece? Hello?
I could not. I could not.
God.
If Taylor Lautner and Janelle Monáe made eye contact on screen, if I saw behind the scene photos of them even near each other, I think that is all I would need to get through. It would be the opposite of my 13th reset. Like, it would be my... I would be all of you who have sent us...
This is my purpose. This is all
literally, I would be all of you who have put, like, his fucking photo on, like, behind your bed and just, like, kissed it at night. Like, that would be my reason for getting up in the morning. No, Taylor Lautner, unfortunately, is not in Knives Out 2.
Not yet.
Not yet, anyways. What we received from Deadline is that Taylor Lautner and Rob Schneider and Kevin James,
my 3 favorite people,
just a gaggle of men, are in a new Netflix family comedy titled Home Team.
Sure.
Netflix, I have a couple of questions. You knew that you could get Taylor. You had his contact information.
Yeah.
What kind of deal went down that you couldn't get him for Shark Boy and Lava Girl 2?
Okay, true.
But you could negotiate for a family comedy.
With Kevin James.
With Kevin James. Was that his bargaining chip? He said, I will not unless you give me Kevin James.
Yeah.
Because from what I have seen of Shark Boy and Lava Girl 2, which I know it's not called that. I know it's like Family Heroes or whatever the fuck.
Right.
It's got fucking Mando in it.
Right. Yeah.
It's got beautiful
Mr. Pascal.
Yeah, it's got Mr. Pascal in it. Why? Taylor Lautner, did you decide no on that? You don't want that to be your brand anymore. No, thank you. I don't want to be next to Mr. Pedro Pascal. I want to be next to Rob Schneider and Kevin James. Yes, thank you.
I mean, to be fair, I think this gaggle of people is a less threatening
That's true.
person, like less intimidating. I think if he was with Pedro Pascal, he'd be like, I don't know if I could. I don't think I can do that.
That's true.
I don't think I can compare. I'm out. I'm sorry.
I do think his agent could more realistically bill him as a, quote, man of color with this list, even though we know he's not.
Right.
We know now he's not.
Like, enough? Close, I guess?
Like, he used his, like, ancient heritage, right? I think is what we've found out now for
right. Yeah.
Twilight. But if he went up with the cast of that, Pedro Pascal would look at him and be like, "Sir,
yeah,
that's a tan." Like,
no. Yeah.
So maybe that's what this is. Honest to God, I have no idea. But he's in a comedy. So I have questions. Yeah. I'm not against it. I know that he can do it.
I would just like to see it. I haven't been convinced.
We
haven't really seen it that much from him.
No.
I guess since Valentine's Day.
Since Valentine's Day,
that was, what, 15 years ago?
Which was literally, when this comes out, will have been 12 years ago. There will be...
So yeah, it's been a minute.
There will be tweens that have been born since then. Which is haunting because I love Valentine's Day. I'm curious. I will say that. I want to know if this is connected to him building or pushing trucks. Not building. Well, maybe building trucks. But connected to him pushing trucks. I just have questions. Netflix, and I would like answers.
That's fair.
Anyways, we do have just a smidge of happiest season news. Do you want to take us to that corner?
Absolutely. Welcome back.
We're here.
To Us Weekly. We're here with the exclusive.
Oh.
That the Happiest Season sequel is coming.
I'm excited for
At
this.
some point.
Yes. So, soon, maybe, someday.
Right. Yeah, who's to say? They bill it as early stages.
Okay.
So, probably not for a minute.
Yeah.
But it is happening.
You could say so many things in life are in early stages.
Right. Yes.
I'm just going to start saying that when someone asks me, like, how is your retirement plan going? It's in early stages. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Totally working on it, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep. Think of the earliest stages something could be in, and it's like around there. Maybe even a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah, we're just like really committed to ensuring that the early stages really help with the development. Just like, do those buzzwords really answer your question?
Does that help?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that having another gay Christmas movie is great.
Yeah.
Hey, Happiest Season team, we have pitched a great opportunity on here.
So we do have a sequel already laid out for you.
Yeah, if you want your team to contact our team, we are very happy to chat with you.
Absolutely.
On that. I hate talking about this, but our last piece of news here is less news and just more of an update. If you've also found yourself waking up at 3 a.m. wondering where in the world E.L. James is.
Yeah, we've all been.
Then we can answer that question for you. We can't often do a lot in this space, but we can answer that question for you. I have no idea what inspired Mir to make this article, other than the fact that 2 of their staff writers were just on Instagram at one point and were like, hey, let's check in on E.L. James's Instagram. How is she doing?
Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
What's like really happening with her? Calling this an article feels generous. So much as it's just a couple of pictures and how she has spent the money that she's made from 50 Shades.
Which is so much.
So much money. So much money over the past 10 years. The first thing here is, and brace yourself, because I also got a little bit confused, is just a little bit of math.
Yes.
Cody very graciously brought this to my attention. The math here does not make sense.
No.
And I think that this is just specifically from 2014. Could you elaborate a little bit more on the salary?
Like, we haven't really talked about, like, how much money any of these things have made. We just know that it's a lot, and we're like, math is hard.
It is.
But this does a good job of, like, breaking down how much money she was making at that time, and it's pretty wild. They said in 2014, over the course of that year, pocketed $33 million and apparently made around 90,000 pounds, I guess, a day, every single day from those books that accumulated to that much money, which is bananas.
It's so much. And if I remember right, that was the year the first movie came out.
I believe that is.
I'm just
correct.
going to commit to that.
Right.
And so I think that makes sense, right? That things would only start kind of escalating from there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then it says like the actual company or whatever in that same year also made like 33 million before taxes or whatever. And then it says to keep up with her lavish lifestyle, the author, I will not say her real name, but this article wants me to, I refuse, paid herself a dividend of £3.24 million and a £7,800 salary.
Which, like, what does that mean? You know?
Did she give herself, like, her own advance that was like, here's $3 million just for me to sit on? And then the salary, I don't know if that's a monthly thing. Like,
daily
it's not specific. Daily, out every hour. I don't know. I
don't know either. It is very clearly not specific on here.
Yeah.
All I know is that it is a shit ton of money.
Yes, yeah, quite a lot.
Looking at this photo of her is incredibly striking. The way that E.L. James smiles is hauntingly similar to Stephanie. And I have a couple of questions that I would love to ask E.L. James at some point, but I know that doing this would not be conducive to any sort of conversation, so I will just ask them here and make them rhetorical. One,
yeah, sure.
E.L. James, did you model your smile after Stephanie? E.L. James, did you choose coral for this specific photo because you know that Stephanie likes to wear coral?
Right.
E.L. James, are you able to be in a room at the same time as Stephanie Meyer?
Yeah, do you think there's like a lot of we've kind of talked about like their beef a little bit, like very like passively.
Yeah.
But, like imagine them being in a space together. It really boggles my mind.
I just want to think about it, because the idea of actually conceptualizing this is legitimately haunting to me. But the idea of Stephanie, E.L. James, and Caroline being in the same room, I think would cause destruction.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not talking like theoretical destruction. I'm thinking like actual world destruction.
Right, like global. Like
100%.
The ramifications of that are immense.
And some of you are like, oh, Allie, you always are anxious about stuff. I would counter that by saying, one, yes, but two, I want you to think about the long-term ramifications of what has happened in the world since Stephanie has released Twilight.
Right.
And if those three women got into the same room with their brains and their method of communication and their view of romance,
right,
and their view of
crucially
women in the same room, I can't tell if, one, they would all implode, first of all, which, or it would be global destruction.
Yeah. That group really is like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Literally.
Internalized misogyny, you know? Like, that is a powerful quorum there. I would not want to be anywhere near
100%.
that.
I just want to teach her what a filter on Instagram is.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, like, just commit to it. You know, if you like a lo-fi Instagram, I love that for you.
Sure.
I think that that's something that is great.
Right.
But the other thing is, this article is like, she is so high-tech. She lives this super ultra-glam Christian Grey lifestyle. And then they show a photo of her with a pizza oven and lemonade.
And you're like, this is luxury.
Yeah, this is it.
Here's a photo of her hallway where she just has cardboard boxes of Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
That's luxury, baby. What?
And I just find it odd. That's all.
Yeah.
So this woman is a walking contradiction. She gives me more questions than answers. I just wonder about her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And more than anything, I just want Stephanie Meyer and E.L. James and Caroline Kepnes to be treated like magnets. I don't want them anywhere near each other.
Yeah. They have to repel each other just for the betterment of us.
Treat them like they would corrode if near each other.
Yes.
We have our first question for today.
Hell
which
yeah.
is from one of our patrons, Cassandra, with one S. I specify this because we have 2 Cassandras. If Stephanie did a crossover of worlds and the Cullens were in the host, do you think the, quote, souls could take over the vampires? Or is their diamond skin safe?
Ooh.
This brings up some really interesting questions.
Yeah, a lot of scientific questions.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you asked us, Cassandra, because we are noted scientists.
Right. Scholars, doctors.
If I'm not mistaken, you have a BS, right?
I took 1 semester of a BS, so I do not.
Damn,
No.
do we both have BAs?
Yeah.
Fuck. All right, so we're not
Embarrassing.
scientists.
Yeah, we're fucked.
Well, you know what? Arts is science, actually. So we are people in STEM.
Okay. All right. But
I feel like Stephanie would answer this by not answering the question.
Yes.
And saying, well, the vampires don't have souls, right? That's what
that is true.
Edward says that like 18 times.
Right.
And so they are therefore just like vessels, right?
Right. Yeah.
So in theory, their vessels could have souls. The issue then would be the skin, right? The diamond skin.
Right.
And
yeah.
getting through that skin.
Getting through that diamond
skin. And then also, right, the like poisonous blood system. Because the little aliens gotta like hunker in.
Yeah.
To it.
Burrow in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that like...
But also they're like aliens, you know?
That's true.
I guess I'm not sure what they would be used to, like environments and stuff and different things. Because like we've gotten a little bit of like the different worlds that they live in sometimes, but it doesn't seem anything, I don't know, concrete.
Maybe the answer would be like a newborn. Because if an alien, and like if the alien medicine could get through the diamond skin.
Right.
They've mentioned before that Stephanie's mentioned before, right, that like that newborns still have the human blood. And so I would imagine that they're like innards. Ugh.
Welcome back to Vampire Anatomy.
Is probably still more like human-like. And I would imagine that might make it easier for a host to acclimate to.
Ooh, what if, let's get a little fun
Please.
with this. What if a host takes over a human body and then that human gets turned or is attempted to get turned? Would that be like your body taking a screenshot and you just like pass out or something? Like
maybe. That would be super interesting. Oh, shit. That would be wild, actually. Because then you would think that, like, maybe on one of the other planets... Or that, like, just theoretically, right? That if the world that they're on in the host was also fucking Twilight World, was the same universe...
Right.
then theoretically the aliens at some point would have to encounter vampires. And that would just be an interesting theoretical conversation of like... Because the aliens are supposed to be like theoretically non-violent, except for this fucking seeker, which we'll talk about in a second.
Right. Except for some people.
And if the hosts... That's just an interesting theoretical question of like, what would Stephanie do in that point?
Yeah, and when given a philosophical question, you know, Steph is always
and she
down for the count.
She loves a philosophical question. She loves to answer those with Shakespeare quotes. So,
yep.
The other thing, this is less of a question and more so of an update that I did not know. My mom, Kelly Beck, sent an IG reel to us.
Hell yeah.
And it was essentially highlighting the amazing toxic relationship that is Bella and Edward. And when my mom, Kelly Beck, sent this over, Kelly Beck said, also, for the record, I am Team Jacob.
Gasp.
And it has been for incredibly long years.
Right.
So I might have had a moment to express my shock about this before, but I don't remember.
Right.
Kelly, what?
Thought we knew you.
Yeah.
I thought we knew, we had an understanding
I thought we
of
were
each other.
family.
Kelly.
So this email continued on by saying, the Twilight backstory on that is that I saw the movies without reading the books first and was like, why does this boy look like he wants to vomit on Bella's face? How is he the hero of the story? So,
all right, fair point. I mean,
listen, if you had just seen the movies and you hadn't read the books first and you saw Edward and he was like, fuck this woman.
Yeah.
It would make a little bit more sense where you were like, yes, this puppy dog, Jacob Black.
Yeah, this guy gives me bad vibes.
Absolutely.
Let's go with this boy. Yeah.
But to now,
after all this time, after sitting on this info to yourself.
Yes. In the year of Stephanie's Lord, 2021, to still be Team Jacob. Are you still Team Jacob? At this point, I have questions.
Right.
I would like an update.
Listen, Kelly did phrase the message as
I
am Team Jacob.
I am Team Jacob.
Currently and forever.
And yes, that is, I just have questions, and live your truth and stand in your truth, but I will judge you about it. And that's fine. And that's okay.
I can imagine you getting that message and then you just looking back on all of this past time, with a second
it was a lie.
Like, what?
It was all a lie.
What happened?
And that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have some, and I don't say this often, but we have some exciting chapters to talk about.
Yeah. I know I always say that it's getting wet and wild up in here. I don't say it like that. But
I don't know. It sounds like you say it like that.
But it's getting wet and wild.
It sounds like you're saying that these chapters are moving from being in Starburst territory to being in some Gushers territory, which is fine with me. I mean, call it like you see it.
Listen, these chapters are gushing.
They're gushing with something.
They're gushing. Yeah. In typical Stephenie Meyer fashion of putting every bit of conflict and plot and energy in as far back as you could. We're still on that train.
Absolutely. She was like,
and it's only accelerating.
I hit page 490. Perfect. Great. Let me now get to where I wanted to go with this story.
Right. That's how books work. Yeah.
Stephenie,
process, baby.
You are my literal enemy in life. You are everything I tell my students not to be. Killing me. Anyways, last week we were talking about alien cops who give out huffers to drivers.
Right.
Yeah. Good cops who pull people over and say, hey, you look tired. Here's a 5-hour energy. Also, watch out for those weird humans out there. Oh, and then last week, the very end of the chapter, they get back from their raid and Jamie was like, oh shit, Wes is dead. And I told you all that I was going to come back figuring out who Wes was. So I did.
And?
Figured out who Wes was.
I've done the sleuthing.
Yeah. To be fair, Stephenie provided a little bit of that context, which made it easier. Right. So we have chapter 49, which starts off with the title being interrogated. So I wonder what's going to happen in here. The group gets back together. They are very stressed out, naturally, because someone is dead. But the way that they are handling that stress is just by having some cheese, some fresh bread, some milk. Yeah. Stephenie getting in her big dairy agenda here. And just trying to figure out a little bit more about how Wes died. And then starting to realize that, of course, as we had assumed, the Seeker is back.
Ew.
If you, like we were last week, were like, who the fuck is Wes? Because we even talked about this person in like 3 weeks.
Right.
As I had kind of mentioned before, Wes is a very minor side character who had a little fling with a woman named Lily. Mm. We met Wes during one of the soccer excursions in the blue light place.
Right.
His character does not, and his like whole thing does not mean much other than the fact that Wanda really cares that someone died and they are like, yes, my fault.
Yeah.
That is the part that matters here.
Yes.
The other thing, as folks are like starting to share a little bit more, is we realize that there are other people that were injured during this fight with the Seeker. So like 2 other random side characters got hit with bullets, but survived because of Wanda going into the healing center and getting all of that medicine that they were judging the shit out of her for. Yeah. But you know what? That's fine, because they hated them for it. So, you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
Guess we're all good now.
But Wes was not able to survive, because Stephanie did a very gory description of how he got shot. So, great. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie.
Love that.
Love that. But they end up finding out from some of the other people that the Seeker is not just like here, but specifically in the storage unit that is like a makeshift prison. So in the same place that they were used or like housed before.
Right.
So of course Wanda is like having a crisis.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole thing. That is like most of this chapter is like how Stephanie's just like, how can I write Wanda to have the biggest crisis possible?
Right. What do I do? What's going on?
Yeah.
Who should I choose? Like, what's whose side am I on?
How can I prolong this crisis?
This death, yeah.
Before having the inevitable conversation between the Seeker and Wanda.
Yeah, right.
And it is not looking good. Especially because of the fact that all of the people that are still here are very clearly sharing their distaste for the Seeker.
Right.
And they're like, this alien is awful. It's been a hard time, like, seeking or, like, doing guard duty over them. This is awful. And Melanie's doing the same thing. Like, you're not going to bother saving her. You want her dead. All of these kinds of things. Even though Wanda is doing the very typical thing of like, but what if I don't want the Seeker dead, though?
Ooh. I know we all kind of like don't really like the Seeker because, you know, Seeker kind of came in guns blazing, literally. But like...
But not killing people is kind of my thing.
That's kind of the whole deal.
Yeah.
So
what if I don't?
What if we don't? Hear me out.
It also doesn't help that Jeb, as well as the other people that are keeping guard, are doing a very clear and overt job of portraying differences between the Seeker and Wanda. So they're like, the Seeker is like a complainer. She's not quiet like you were. She's always asking for more food and more water and more pillows. And she's always threatening us a lot. But she hasn't tried to escape. Every time that like one of us, threatens her with a gun, she backs down. It's like, no shit, dude. But apparently as Wanda's like walking closer to the fucking prison. It was like a makeshift prison. We find out that Wanda actually knows now where this makeshift prison / storage unit is. And it is right near the exit, which Stephanie loves some good irony there.
Yeah.
There's finally this confrontation between the two of them. And Wanda is struggling throughout all of this. Mainly because they don't know what to say in here.
Right. Yeah, for real.
And Melanie keeps trying to bug Wanda about this of like, you should probably wait until you figure out like what kind of questions that you want to ask. Like, how do you want to do this? And Wanda keeps being like, but I kind of just want to go, actually.
So,
and so when Wanda ends up going to see the Seeker is naturally like very acidic and is like, did you personally request to kill me, Melanie? And it isn't until that point that Wanda's like, actually, they call me Wanda here, so
it's a cool little nickname. It's pretty chill. It's fine.
The conversation, I think, very clearly illustrates the fact that like the Seeker is trying to be very bitter, trying to be very aggressive, but very clearly wants to stay alive. And Wanda, I think almost unintentionally, does not soothe the Seeker at all. Especially, there's a part when Wanda says, like, it seems like no one from your team has been taking you seriously about this investigation. So when you go missing, why do you think that they're going to look for you? And the Seeker was like, oh, fuck. Like, anyways, so you want to save me now or what? And the problem is that Wanda actually does.
Yeah.
And doesn't quite realize that until after this conversation of Wanda's whole shtick is not killing people.
Right.
And I think that it wasn't until this conversation that all of the things so far of like Kyle's situation and Wes dying and Jamie almost dying that Melanie finally asking in Wanda's head of like, whose side are you on? That
Right,
Wanda was
yeah.
like, what if I just do both?
Yeah. Hear me out.
And honestly,
We can all get along.
you know what? That's bisexual thinking, folks. Like,
Listen. Listen.
I'm just saying.
Listen. I would argue that these chapters are a little gay.
Okay, same.
Because, like, when we'll talk about the whole, like, decision they make or whatever, and the way they talk about that feels very queer.
Not to
You know?
mention the fact that, like, at the end of this chapter, Wanda says, the only wall I'd ever built between Melanie and me crumbled to dust. And it's like,
Okay. I know you guys can't, like, physically kiss each other because you have the same body, but, like...
I think if there's one thing we've learned about Wander and what they've mentioned so far is just that, like, binaries just don't matter.
Right.
I mean, like,
Exactly,
they are there, but they just don't seem to, like, apply.
Yeah, Wander is out here just vibing all the time, and everyone is just like, so, are you a lady? Like, what? It's like, oh, are you a female? Are you an alien? Are you a person? And they're just like, I'm just this is the thing. This is the situation that I'm in. I don't know what, this is what I got. I don't know. I'm just here. I don't know.
Yeah, just like, if that's the term that you use here, sure, I guess.
Right.
Like,
whatever. Yeah.
whatever. Yes. So, chapter 50 of Sacrifice. I want to hear your thoughts because this, I agree, this chapter felt fruity.
a little fruity.
And this is
you
the thing
can't
about
hear
Stephanie.
it, but I am doing the hand thing.
But, okay, same.
My wrist is like flipping and flopping over here.
Same. This is the fucking thing about Stephanie that kills me. She unintentionally, by trying...
As she so often does.
fucking kills me. By trying to work within a science fiction universe, is like, but what if I just make it a little bit fruity?
Yeah, just like a little bit.
Stephanie, I find it really interesting that when you are pondering philosophical questions, as you ought to do within your work, it tends to get gay.
Yeah, what's
up with that actually?
Let's just explore that a little bit more, don't you think? Don't you think that's a rich vein? You're so close. You're so close, you know? Just get over that hump, baby. You got it. You're almost there.
You're doing such a good job.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
You're doing so good. Okay, I want to know your thoughts on this. Specifically, when Wanda is like, actually, I need to go think, and then just like falls face down on the bed.
Which is a mood, for sure. Okay, yeah, so Wanda's like, fuck, I have to make, like, a choice here, and not everyone's gonna like it, and it's gonna suck, but I have to, like, sacrifice myself for this larger plan that I'm working on, right? And so they're just trying to figure out, like, trying to, like, I don't know, like, say goodbye to this life that they've had, and, like, their body and everything. But the way that Wanda talks about the body they inhabit is fruity. It is like, I think the exact quote, it's like, I lived in so many bodies, but never one I loved like this. Hello?
Never one that I craved in this way.
Craved? Are you kidding me?
Of course, this would be the one I'd have to give up. Are you, Stephanie?
Come talk about yearning. Are you kidding me?
Oh my god.
Hello.
Oh my god. It's unreal.
Yeah.
And wow. It's just
what a real enemies to lovers situation.
Okay, but
you know what
listen,
I mean? Like
we talk about enemies to lovers of like Jared to Wanda. And Ian to Wanda. The real enemies to lovers here is Melanie and Wanda.
Yes, and we just didn't expect it because they were doing their own fucking Odd Couple cosplay by being in the same body, but they're different people. Exactly. They have different souls, and they have infinite love for each other. Ugh, come on.
It's disrespectful that, like, this, of course... At the time that, like, because Stephanie just eats up a self-sacrificing character.
Yeah, listen.
Stephanie's shtick is, like, give me a self-sacrificing protagonist.
Yeah.
But this one has to be one that's, like, tracing their face with their fingertips. And, like, closing their eyes and stroking their eyelids. Like, this is fruity.
Yes.
And this is the most, like, physical touch that that Wanda's, like, had and hasn't been needing to ask, like, Melanie, is this good? Like,
right. Yeah. They're on the same page.
I could cry.
Yeah, it's not like Wanda disassociating when... Who is it?
Ian kissing.
Ian that was like kissing them, kissing them and just like rubbing up and being like, I am not present in this moment.
Yeah, just them disassociating and Melanie just like violently screaming the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, that scene was beautiful. And it's like, sorry, if you pulled this out of context and I read it, I would not think that Stephanie wrote it. And it's fucked up.
Yeah. Yep.
Disrespectful. So of course we have to go back to like self-sacrificing, and we find out that like of course, as one would assume, that like the aliens that are put into souls know like the red button. They know how to like get out, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so throughout all of this process, Wanda then goes to Doc, who I can't believe that it's been essentially 80% of the way in this book, and I'm just now realizing that Doc and Sharon are a thing.
Oh yeah, that threw me for a loop too.
I don't know if that was like mentioned really early on in the book, and I just forgot because I don't care. Yeah. But the fact that like Doc, I always associated him with sleeping in the hospital wing. Yeah. That I was like, what do you mean that he's with someone here?
What?
It threw me for a loop. This gave off very strong, honestly, like very strong Bella vibes to me. when Wanda went in and talked to Doc and was like, listen, I have a whole plan. I have a whole thing. I will give you everything that you want, but you have to give me what I want, which is going to wreck you. So,
so think on that.
But
you also have like 60 seconds, so do it.
And I know that you won't say no. So, anyways.
Yeah. So, go.
The terms then being that Wanda, of course, knows how to, like, get the souls out of human vessels, but will only tell Doc if Doc promises to do it the way that Wanda wants, which is, like, sending them back correctly and not just silver blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And Doc's like, what the fuck are you talking about? How am I going to do this? And of course, they want to, like, test on the Seeker first and testing on, like, other people. That way, when it comes time, Doc can then do it to Wanda, bury Wanda, and have Melanie back as, like, original Melanie.
Right.
Doc is like, okay, I was cool with, like, 90% of that. And then you got to the last bit, and now I'm kind of confused.
Not really cool with that.
So, rough stuff there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there isn't really a way to say, like, no to just some of this. It's kind of like a deal or no deal kind of situation here. And so they both go forward with accepting the terms of this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is rough, right? Because, like, this is Wanda at their most self-sacrificing.
Yes. Yes.
I think I am personally curious of, like, we have 20% of this book left. Something's going to go wrong. So what part of this plan is going to get fucked up?
Uh-oh.
But as of now, that is where we are left off. Is, like, trialing this out on the Seeker first. Probably on a couple more folks. So that way, ultimately, Wanda will die. And Melanie will come back. Rough stuff there.
Yeah.
But I think everyone else will then find out next week when we are on chapters 51 and 52.
Hell yeah.
And if we don't get more fruity stuff, then what is the point of this book?
Then we are burning this book to the ground.
Then I'm burning my first book.
Right, yeah. Normally anti-burning books, but I will make the exception.
100%. I will burn my first book. We have an amazing group of patrons to thank. Would you?
Hell yeah, we do.
Like to start?
Absolutely. Thank you to Mallory Hardwick.
Thank you to Katie Black.
Shout out Kylie Minty.
Thank you to Alex Dornan.
Shout out Carrie Goldberg.
Thank you to Mickey Meyer.
Shout out Rebecca Cullen.
Thank you to Mouch Gray.
Mulch. Yes. Thank you to Taylor Brown Town Lautner.
Thank you to Jasmine Anastasia.
Ooh, yeah. Shout out Bailey Christian.
Thank you to Jay Molina.
Thank you to Cassandra Bomer.
Thank you to Toussaint Warner.
Oh, yeah. Shout out Kristen Strider.
Thank you to Julia Stewart.
Woo! Thank you to Megan Pattinson. Oh.
Thank you to Cassandra O'Shea.
Ooh. Shout out Maddie Facinelli.
Thank you to my mom and Team Jacob fan, Kelly Beck.
Or Our life is a lie.
Our life is a lie. Everything I know is fake.
Shout out Sophia Salinger.
Thank you to India Peach.
Boing, boing. Boing. Shout out Casey Yorkie.
Thank you to Sarah Blythe.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. And thank you to Lara Forty. Boing, boing.
I have a fan fiction for you this week.
Ooh, thank you so much.
This is from the author Rupel 101.
Sure.
And it is titled What If They Did Have Sex?
Ooh.
This was published on October 30th of 2010. So we're really bringing it back here.
Yeah.
This is a Vampires Suck fanfiction. And this
Incredible.
The summary is spoilers for Vampires Suck. If you haven't seen the movie yet, don't read it. But it says, what if Becca and Edward had sex?
Ooh.
So,
What if?
So, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
I want to try something, he said, trailing off and looking deep within my eyes. I shuddered quietly to myself. This feels like in a movie when a guy is about to kiss the girl. I heard that, he muttered. I whirled around in shock. But, I stammered while he watched in amusement. You can't read my mind. Becca, I was joking. But what were you thinking? He asked. I glared at him. He chuckled and became still again. I looked down and looked him up again to see him right in front of my face. Our noses were almost touching. Your nose is huge, I blurted out unthinkingly. Becca, will you just shut up? He joked. I rolled my eyes. He leaned in again, and I grabbed my mask again. For God's sake, Becca, just let me kiss you already, he said, exasperately, and ripped the mask off my face and pulled my lips to his. The moments our lips touched, I was on fire. The passion deep within me rose, so it was caught in my throat. I kissed him more roughly, which made him pull away. That was amazing, he squealed, like he was a toddler. I've never gone to first base before, he explained. Now that turned me on big time. Now let's go all the way, I gasped, and literally leapt across my bed and threw him against the headboard, kissing my way along his neck and grinding against him. He held up his ring as if in an attempt to propose, but I grabbed him with my mouth and spat it on the floor. Becca, my instincts urge me to kill you, Edward gasped out. I didn't blame him. End scene.
Wow.
You know, there is a moment, a couple lines from now, where one of them accidentally hits the other with a lamp. Because, you know,
Charming.
They just, like, can't control their adolescent urges.
Too sexy.
It's just, like, so much.
Yeah.
But anyways, we have covered Vampire Suck before. So if you want more of that awful movie, you can definitely go back and enjoy that.
Absolutely.
I think I'm going to be haunted by both Kevin James and Dear Evan Hansen for a long time.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
If you are also haunted by that, I'm sorry. Honestly,
and you're welcome.
I'm sorry. You're welcome. Blame E.L. James. Probably, she's probably connected at some point. As we say in the Pacific Northwest,
get bit
and get whipped.
Ooh.
Wow.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. Our theme music is by Eli Krauss, and our artwork is by Maddie Padilla. Follow the show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/IntoTheTwilight. Send us an email or a fanfiction at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. You can find Allie at Into Wild Places and me at Cody Crow.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.